I was meeting all of these women, and their stories echoed that of my grandmother's. And although when we think of Asia, we think very much of a patriarchal society, it's really women that uphold that backbone, from making sure that everything is okay in the house, to making sure that they're saving enough for their children's education, to working extremely hard. And these women very often go unseen. And there's a specific story that really inspired me to start Drink Folks. I was at a farm in Thailand, and it was these two coconut farmers who are lesbians, and they're amazing. And they were telling me that they get paid 8 times less than other coconut farms owned by men, because they are so reliant on a middle man to harvest everything. And these guys set the price. And their arbitrary prices are based on a quote unquote market, commodities trading, whatever have you. And I really wanted to build a business where I could buy things thoughtfully, sustainably, and truly, making sure that these women who are supporting themselves and their entire household have a living wage and can invest in themselves, in their children's education, to help them build generational wealth.
Everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 1% Podcast. I'm your host, Vin End.
And I'm Shane.
And today we're joined by our friend, Tiffany Tang. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Of course. Well, guys, gals, whoever's listening, we have a very, very exciting show today. Tiffany is the founder of the company Drink Folks. We'll get into what that is and why you should drink it. But most importantly, she is going to reveal some insane secrets about why this is the last drink you'll probably ever need for your skincare, your life, and your health regimen. She is going to be dropping some ancient knowledge on us. She's going to tell you the benefits of what she does, how she does it, and she's going to describe in depth that Drink Folk, her company, is not just a feel-good mental, emotional health tonic. It's actually a cause to give back and help better society. So join us for this episode as we dive in. We give you all types of great nuggets. Stay to the end because this girl's energy is something electric. You are not going to want to miss it. All right, there you have it. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm the founder of Drink Folks, okay, so I always say it like this, Vin. You know how Asian women never wrinkle or die? Yeah. That's the only right answer. Crazy. It's because they're drinking this juice. So I'm bringing 1,300-year-old elixirs from Southeast Asia to the US. So our secret remedies for healing, for immunity, for debloating, for looking snatched. And we are so excited. We're still in pre-launch. We're going to be launching very soon. So you and Shane are getting the inside scoop, as well as your listeners, on how we really built this and developed this.
Man, I can't wait to have skin like an Asian. This is so exciting. So
both of our girls are Asian too. So I'm kind of wondering, like, my wife, who is half Japanese, like, where have these elixirs been? Like, I clearly need some of this stuff. Like, it's
hidden in the mountains.
Well, soon.
But Tiffany found them. She dug through the mountain.
It's actually like a wild story. I don't know. Should we jump right into it? Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Amen.
So I actually found this. I didn't always have baby smooth, soft skin. But I was living in Southeast Asia for 2 years. We were doing, by we, I mean myself, a lot of eat, pray, love. And in my adventure and journey, I was really inspired to find out where food comes from, right? Like, where do our meals come from? What does food look like around the world? I'm a big foodie. So I would visit these female-owned farms, and similar to both of you, my superpower is getting people to tell me all their secrets and share their stories with me. And all of these women that I've met were never really asked about themselves, you know? Like, they're isolating themselves from community and diving deeper. They are domestic violence survivors. They're same-sex lovers in very, very strict countries. They are women who are just trying to hide from community. And I really wanted to figure out a sustainable way to invest in them. And along this journey and path, it was blessed to meet healers along the way who share their remedies for immunity, for debloating. So like this, what I'm drinking here, our gut reset, is what mothers give their children every day before school. If you have a stomach ache, this is what you have. It's less about treating problems, but making sure there's longevity and a piece of it every single day. And that's why a percentage of our sales go into a fund that invests in the farmers and producers that I've met and nonprofits that help them scale and grow in the space. So we're truly creating a circular business model and business that is built on values.
So, okay, I want to ask about what, you had this really interesting journey there. What did it take for you to actually decide, like, I'm going to go move to the other side of the world. I'm going to go live here. I'm just going to go and do this thing. Like it sounds like you had a level of openness to you that allowed for this business opportunity, but like, what was the preset to that, right? How did you get this openness to you to be such a, an open founder?
Yeah, that is such a good question. So Vin, you're a native New Yorker. Shane, you're from the OC. And I think that I often call New York and maybe even cities like LA or big metropolitan cities in general, the island of the lotus eater. I don't know if you've read like the Iliad or the Odyssey, but, or watched Percy Jackson too. But the island of the lotus eaters is essentially an island with all of these like nymphs that give out these lotuses that make you feel euphoric, that you forget that so much time has gone by. So part of being a New Yorker is that your hobbies are rooted in spending money, right? Your hobbies are like going out to eat, getting drinks with your friends, going out. And then it becomes this really cyclic cycle of you have to work so hard to maintain that lifestyle that naturally becomes your identity. And I think that so much of my self-worth for a really long time was tied up in my net worth, was tied up in my title, was tied up in social status. And I was working in a fintech company at the time and I was laid off. And my whole identity shattered. And that's why I did this Eat, Pray, Love journey was supposed to be 30 days. I was, unbeknownst to me, you know when you're on kayak.com and you see one ticket left? I booked that one ticket to Bali and I don't know why. I just felt like I needed to go there. And it propelled me on a 2-year journey of finding myself and learning to love myself. I don't think that comes intuitively for people. Then Shane, I don't know if you feel the same being, having grown up in big cities, living in a city now, or if you had that growth journey as well.
So I didn't have that calling until I decided to quit my corporate job and then becoming an entrepreneur changed everything, my entire mindset. It's essentially priorities, just like becoming a family man where you eat last, right? You make sure that your kids are fed, you make sure your wife is fed, and then you make sure that yourself is fed. It's the same thing. It's not about title. It's not about net worth. It's not about how successful you become. It's making sure that the families that you provide that are working for you are taken care of and that their needs are met first. So as soon as you realize that, I think your why becomes a lot bigger in nature and it becomes a lot less self-centered and egotistical, and you can kind of see things a little bit more clearly. That's constantly evolving too. I didn't want it to go to me because I have so many business questions first. So I wanted to at least answer your question first.
Sorry.
Then
just to tee out.
No.
I love having conversations. If this is not like helpful to the pod, then I don't have to ask them.
No, it's absolutely. People will love your story. They want to hear all about you. They don't care about my answers, right? They've been listening to Vid and I for 2 years now. They know about us. So your story is phenomenal. It's amazing. And I think that's what, I personally, I wanted to bring it back to Vin before I just like dissect and do what I normally do. Vin, did you want to answer that question too?
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because when I consider like my personal journey, it was not a planned out thing either. I think it was a lot of circumstance. And I had never actually had a goal or an idea to become an entrepreneur. It wasn't until later in my life that, through feeling so unfulfilled in every endeavor I was in, that I felt like I had to build my own thing, because nothing that I felt passionate about or wanted to have exist in my life existed. And that's when I had this inkling that I really had to start doing it for myself. And that's ultimately what sparked entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And like we hear from entrepreneurs all the time, or like people who just end up being in the CEO seat, that they didn't aspire to be a founder or a CEO. They just knew that no one else could do this, and no one else could do this better than them. And that's how I feel about Drink Folks too, right? Like, how many people are going out to and actively seeking out going to remote villages? And, I talk about being a bad driver, motorbiking into remote villages to meet these women, to sign them up for nonprofit programs and to help them, right? It takes a very specific person with a specific mission to see something to fruition. And I hope we do more of that. And I'm sure that this is like kind of a sidebar, but you can clip it, because I think that all the shuns at the end sounded very poetic.
I don't think so. I think this really goes with what your message is, with what your company is, with who you are, and what you're relaying. I think it's beautifully said. Okay, it's my turn. So I actually was part of a juicing company a long time ago. And the problems that we ran into, because it was all organic, it was all fresh, was that the shelf life was 48 hours. So Drink Folks, I'm assuming, has to have, and especially if it's going to be shipped, I'm assuming that, can you tell me about the ingredients that are currently in there? Can you tell me how long the shelf life is, how fast it's going to be shipped out? Like, help me understand a little bit more about Drink Folks.
So to tie it back, I really want to tie into what Drink Folks really is. So this is JAMU, a 1,300-year-old elixir that comes out of Indonesia. It is so important to the history and the culture of this society that in the oldest and largest Buddhist temple, Borobudur, in Southeast Asia, there is a relief, a carving in this temple that talks about the process of making JAMU and the importance of healing, its healing properties in community. So I want to start off with that. The second thing is the process of making it. It's a hybrid between a juice and a tea. So Shane, when you're talking about fresh juices, it's like unpasteurized, you want to cold press it. It has, even with HPP, it has a 60-day shelf life. So with JAMU, because of the historical process of how it's been made and how it's heated, that this product lends itself to shelf stability. So the inputs that you talk about we use unpasteurized ginger juice. We get it shipped from the ginger people. I love them. That's our team. We love it. They also supply our turmeric juice. So everything that goes into it is fresh, unpasteurized, cold pressed juice. So all of that is blended with our tea base. So everything in here is extremely anti-inflammatory. We have 2 flavors. Shane, have you ever had a brisk iced tea? Yeah.
A brisk iced tea? Absolutely.
Exactly. So our immunity flavor tastes like a brisk iced tea with only 2 grams of honey. So it is based in turmeric and ginger juice. It has 10 times more ginger juice than a ginger shot. It sounds.
Do I get the like ginger, aftertaste? Like I just ate like 10 gingers in my mouth?
Because of the other ingredients that we have, like cinnamon, rice water, pandan. We also use one of the only organic acacias in the market, which is a prebiotic that helps with the viscosity so it goes down really, really smoothly. And like, you know, when you take a ginger shot, exactly like you're saying, I feel like there's going to be a hole in my esophagus.
Yeah, no. I feel the same way with turmeric too.
It burns.
Yeah. That almost sounds like an horchata too. Like you said, the rice water, the cinnamon mixed with the yeah, that's kind of what it sounded
I call
like.
this flavor the Asian horchata.
Yeah.
This is our gut reset.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. I was
So
like, okay,
it's like taking these 1,300-year-old remedies. So what I would do is when I was deeply researching and deciding that I wanted to launch JAMU, I lived in Yogyakarta where this temple is for 3 months. And every day I would build relationships, and in a very isolated community, it's about building trust. So I would visit these 5 female healers every single day and sit in their kitchen, sit in their stores, learn about them, hear their stories. They would teach me how to do things and how to create this product authentically and truly. So this is really an homage to them. And on top of that, I've added some of my favorite ingredients like pandan. I added more ginger because I love the floraliness, and I love adding prebiotics into things because I care about my GLP-1 girlies. Yeah.
My second question is why limit it to women? Why women farmers? Why the women healers? Why people who have been through, you know, their rough stories, who want to be sheltered?
That's a great question. Have you been to Asia? Not yet.
Shockingly. I've been to Thailand, so I mean, but it was for 2 weeks vacation.
Well,
I don't think that
I feel
counts.
like every time I go to Asia, this is just one example. Women are busting their booties doing absolutely everything. You go into a restaurant, these women, one woman, she's the chef. She's the one taking orders. She's the one running back and forth making your meals. And a man is just sitting behind the register, not really doing very much. And we can cut that out. That's just like some context. But it is real.
I feel like that's real. That's real.
But
Yeah.
I was meeting all of these women.
Go for it.
And their stories echoed that of my grandmother's. And although when we think of Asia, we think very much of a patriarchal society, it's really women that uphold that backbone. From making sure that everything is okay in the house, to making sure that they're saving enough for their children's education, to working extremely hard. And these women very often go unseen. And there's a specific story that really inspired me to start Drink Folks. I was at a farm in Thailand, just right outside of Bangkok. And it was these 2 coconut farmers who are lesbians, and they're amazing. And they were telling me that they get paid 8 times less than other coconut farms owned by men because they are so reliant on a middle man to harvest everything. And these, not everything, but harvest most things. And these guys set the price. And they're arbitrary prices. They're based on a quote unquote market, commodities trading, whatever have you. And I really wanted to build a business where I could buy things thoughtfully, sustainably, and truly, making sure that these women who are supporting themselves and their entire household have a living wage and can invest in themselves, in their children's education to help them build generational wealth.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal answer. I mean, that type of lifestyle is, I mean, as I've been calling it, is the 1950s house style, right? The wife, quote unquote, here would take care of the kids, take care of the house, would make the food, make sure everything is clean.
Yeah.
Right. The husband goes to work, makes the money. I mean, that lifestyle is in the United States, for the most part, is long gone. Right. It seems like in other countries and society, that's
when
still
we talk about the why, I know we're talking about female farmers. I also think about my grandmothers, and to take it back a little bit, both of my parents are refugees of the Vietnam War. And one of my grandmothers, she would put 2 kids on her motorbike and drive them. She has 9 kids, drive them to the Cambodian border, bribe Border Patrol to let her kids cross into Cambodia so they can flee. And it's all of these badass women who don't get credit for all of the things, right? Or like my dad getting here and having someone give him $100 to flee his country has now given me the privilege to give back to community. And I think when we build businesses, and when I know that I'm building Drink Folks, because I don't want to see the impact that I'm going to have, because that impact of, a $200 investment, a 3% investment from, sales of this beverage, that impact we won't see. 3% of the sales go into the Folks Fund, which invests in various nonprofits that help female farmers and producers, entrepreneurs, scale and grow in the spaces that they're in. And I am really, really, really excited, because the hope is for Drink Folks that we help these farmers scale to such level that they become our sole suppliers, that we can build a circular business model, and even more, getting all of these women onto USF, not the United States federal government, but getting them on suppliers lists so people like Pressed can use them, or people like, Juice Generation can use them. They are so beyond their scope of growth that they're providing their product to other people, because the world is so much bigger than just ourselves.
You got to get Drink Folks big enough so that you can be their sole supplier. I'm in. Let's buy some.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And then what I heard too, like a trick too, is once you build these, on a side note, if anyone's fundraising, the strategy behind this too is like we all scale and grow together at the same time, but we have preferred rates for these commodities. And when you're going to get a loan, let's say at Santander or any other commodity trading bank, you can literally say, hey, I'm getting this for, $1 versus $3, and then they can hedge against your product and you can get like an amazing rate for a loan. That becomes your equity, baby.
There you go.
They're literally doubling down on the business too. That's the best part about equity banks.
So yeah. I gotta ask, I'm curious, you have an ethos, a core philosophy of to care, to carry, and to co-survive, right? And where do you see the mission taking you? Where do you see the growth of Drink Folk? Like, what is the end goal here of this thing that you're building?
The end goal is what we talked about. The end goal is to give back to community. And the way I structured Drink Folks was to have it be a proper energy exchange, right? No one's giving money away for free. It's all of these recipes that are rooted in legacy and in heritage are fueling you, right? Then we talked about autoimmune problems. We've talked about inflammation and the impact of that. Like having an alternative methodology for healing that is rooted in something that is so, so good for you, that is highly anti-inflammatory, that is proven to work over centuries is really exciting. So we're healing our community here in the States and hopefully in the world. And in exchange, we're also financially healing these women and their families to help them live a better life. So with Drink Folks, everyone truly, truly benefits. And thank you for calling that out. Vin, did you read my Substack?
The three
You might have
C's.
done a little bit of research. So, Tiffany, we're getting close to the end here. I got a few questions to ask you. I don't know if they'll be rapid fire, but I definitely have some questions. One of them being this, that the name of our podcast is the 1% Podcast, not because of the fact that we are billionaires, but because we believe that there are people out there doing amazing things, very unique things, things that are just so different than the rest of the world and the rest of the category of people in their echelon and their sphere of influence. For you, what do you see a 1% lifestyle under that premise for yourself look like?
Vin, I know I have a very long response to this question, and I was having a conversation this morning. I was meeting someone new. She pulled out an intuition card, and it said, overcoming. What is something that you overcame? And I fundamentally disagree with how that is framing our minds in the world, because I don't think we're constantly overcoming. We're constantly becoming. And yes, things are going to be in our path, right? Things are going to block us. It's not overcoming it. It's stepping into our power to become the thing once we finish it and once we achieve it and once we've moved past it. And it so aligns with your idea of 1%. When we change our frame of mind to something that is positive, to something that feels really, really achievable, the 1% becomes so attainable. And I hope that if your listeners take anything out of this, is that you are constantly becoming. You've overcame, but you are becoming.
Right. We're not human beings. We're human becomings.
Oh!
Ben came today, huh?
We're here to eat today.
Yeah, you came prepared, buddy. I like it. Witty.
I try. So, Tiffany, the next question I was going to ask, which I typically like asking people, is what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? I feel like you already gave everybody a pretty good nugget on that last one, but I'm definitely curious. Do you have anything else that really rings true, especially in like the business realm for our entrepreneurial listeners? Do you have any business advice?
Do I have any business advice? Do I have any business advice? Yes. I wrote an article about this too.
Okay.
If you guys want to go into my Substack. But the thing that gets in the way in life and in business is fear. And usually fear is a fear of self. So my best business advice is, if you believe in yourself, if you love yourself, and if you have conviction, then you need to take that leap. Because you will always catch yourself. Every single time. You will make sure that you will always succeed, and you will never let yourself fail. You will never abandon yourself. So best advice is to take the leap.
I like it. All right. Last, probably most important question of all of them. How can people get connected to you, get in touch with you, go get Drink Folk, shout yourself out, tell the community what to do, where to do it, how to do it? And that's got to be everybody's question, because it sure as hell is mine. But I know a few ways.
Yes.
But you tell them.
Yes. Yeah. Then I'm going to give you some. Shane, you said you were going to buy some, so perfect. But I am so excited. We are going to be launching October 1st. You'll be able to get your immunity defense pack. Thrilled. So we are just dropping 40 boxes, 46 packs. That's going to be our first run. So get it quick, get it fast. And if you can't get your hands on it, then we'll make sure you're part of our pre-order, because we fundamentally could not do this without you.
I mean, you're going to sell out pretty darn quickly here.
I would.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends and family. I'm turning 30 on October 9th. So,
dirty 30.
Everyone's going to try to buy me a gift.
Best gift is to just buy her stuff.
Right. Buy Drink Folks.
Exactly.
Don't get her anything.
Buy Drink Folks.
Get her business numbers.
And also, please feel free to follow us. We are Drink Folks everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, and get in touch. And I love yapping. We need to yap more. So if you ever want to yap, DM me.
It's a good one. Yapping too. I like that.
That's what it's all about.
Truly.
Yeah. She's got the gift for gab.
The gift of gab.
I love it. Tiffany, this has been an energetic, enlightening, and
Another
oh
E-word.
man, I'm looking for another E word.
I knew you
Enigmatic. No, I don't know.
Man, you were so
Enamorous?
close to being one of my
Enterprising.
favorite guys.
Entertaining. There we go. Entertaining.
There you go.
Guys, cut that shit. This has been an energetic, enlightening, and entertaining episode, and I'm sure everybody would agree with that. So, guys, please, 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 and gals, whoever's listening, you got to go check out Drink Folk. Make this girl's birthday special. Go buy her product. Don't buy her gifts. That's what every woman entrepreneur wants to hear. Buy my product. Don't buy me flowers. But seriously,
Porque no los dos, Vin.
Right.
Porque no los dos.
All right, there you go. Buy her drink, then send her flower. I mean, I don't know. But stick around for a minute afterwards. We got something to talk about. Appreciate you so much for coming today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your company, and your journey with us and our listeners. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And this has been such a gift and blessing.
Of course. It's been our honor. So there you have it, folks. Don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you thought of the episode and our illustrious guest, Tiffany. As usual, I'm your host, Vin, and
I'm Shane.
that was Tiffany. See you, everybody.